If you can, breathing in and out through your nose. If not, no problem. Noticing the sensation of your inhale. The flow of the air in through your nostrils and making its way down into your lungs. Again, we're not trying to change anything, not trying to fix it. Just noticing if it's a shallow breath or if you feel like you're breathing deep or if it feels choppy or steady. Noticing the air fill your lungs. And just noticing the sensation on your top lip as you exhale. And keeping that awareness of your breath, begin to notice your body, the parts of your body that touch the mat or the carpet, whatever you're on. Letting your sit bones and your hips sink down a little bit more. Letting the floor hold you. Just noticing if there's anywhere in your body that feels a bit tense, a bit tender, any aches or pains, any sensation. Anything that feels like it needs a bit of extra care today. Beginning to bring some small movements to your shoulders. Bringing your shoulders up towards your ears, and back and down.
Please charge.
Nice, slow, big movements. Rotating your shoulders one way and then the other. Finish off with whichever way feels better. There's always one direction that feels nicer than the other, so finish off with that way. Let your shoulders rest down. And gently bring your chin down towards your chest. Bring chin back up parallel to the floor. And nice and slow, taking it down again towards your chest, not trying to touch the chest unless that happens naturally. Just moving it in that general direction. Again, slowly bringing your head back up, chin parallel to the floor. We'll bring the chin down towards the chest again. And this time, bringing your right ear over towards your right shoulder. Taking a couple of breaths here, see how it feels. If it feels good, you have the option to bring your left hand just out a little bit away from your body. That causes too much sensation in your fingers or your arm, just bring your hand back in. Taking a few breaths here. If your hand is out to the side, bring it back in. And gently bringing your chin back down towards your chest. We're going to go to the other side, so left ear towards left shoulder. Just noticing any sensations, any tenderness in your neck. Again, option to bring your right arm just a little bit away from your body. If your arm is out to the side, gently bring it back in, and chin coming back down towards your chest. Take a breath here. Nice and slow, bringing your head back up, chin parallel to the floor. It might feel good to give your shoulders a couple of rolls again, whatever direction you want to go. You can go both ways. Let your shoulders rest down. I'm going to take 3 breaths in. If you can breathe in through your nose and sigh out through your mouth, that's great. If not, just breathe whatever way is comfortable. Taking an exhale, empty out completely. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And sigh it out. We'll do a couple more. Deep breath in through your nose. And let it go. Last one, deep breath in. And sigh it out. Let your breath return to its natural flow. And just bringing some awareness back to it again. Just noticing if it's changed at all from when we first started. If it hasn't, that's totally fine. We're just noticing. Just noticing how you're feeling. This might be your first yoga class or might be your 50th. Either way, it might be some kind of anxiety or not knowing what to expect. You might be excited or looking forward to it or feel like you need it, depending on what kind of day you've had. So whatever way you're feeling, you're welcome here. You don't have to change anything. Every pose is optional. You know your body better than anybody. Your body is way wiser than me. So listen to your body, not me. I'll give you cues to come in and out of poses safely. But everything is optional. If anything doesn't feel good, if at any time you don't want to do a pose, it's your practice. You decide. If you want to come into whatever your favorite pose is, if you just want to lay down, if you want to stop and have a drink, whatever you want to do is up to you. I will just keep reminding you to breathe though. That will be the main thing. We don't care what a pose looks like. We care about how we're breathing. There's no point having a pose looking amazing if we're holding our breath. So the breath will come first. Just one last time, bringing your awareness back to your breath before we move. In your own time, open your eyes. Come off your cushion if you're sat on one. And you're going to make your way to your mat. Bring your feet in line with the top edge of your mat. So knees and feet are about hip distance apart. One hand on each knee. Inhale, sit tall, drawing the crown of your head towards the ceiling. As you exhale, begin to round your spine. Push back into straight arms. Draw your chin towards your chest. As you inhale, elbows bend, chest comes up. And if your neck is feeling okay, you might want to look up. As you exhale, round your spine, straight arms, chin towards your chest. Inhale, arms bend, chest comes up, head comes up. Exhale, round your spine, straight arms, chin towards your chest. Inhale, arms bend, chest comes up, head comes up. Exhale, straight arms, round spine, chin towards your chest. Inhaling, arms bend, chest comes up, head comes up. Just gently warming up the body. Exhale, round spine, straight arms, chin towards your chest. Just do a couple more. Inhale, arms bend, chest comes up, head comes up. Exhale, round your spine, straight arms, chin towards your chest. Inhale, arms bend, chest comes up, head comes up. Exhale, round your spine, straight arms, chin towards your chest. We're going to hold it here this time. Contract your abdominal muscles. Take your hands away from your knees, so palms facing each other. And just nice and slow, with control, begin to lower back down to the ground. You might need to bring your elbows out behind you to give yourself some support. Let your shoulders come down, head comes down very last. Keeping your knees bent, have your feet flat to the floor. You might need to give yourself a bit of space, enough room so that you can take your arms out wide. Arms out wide, palms down. Press your feet into the floor and lift your hips over to the right side of your mat. Draw your belly button in towards your spine. As you inhale, bring both knees into your chest. As you exhale, bring your knees down towards the floor on your left. Knees and feet come down to the floor. Knees might not touch, but your feet can rest on the floor. If you need some extra weight on your top thigh, use your left hand. And if you want to bring your neck into the stretch, into the twist, you can look towards your right arm. Turn your palm up and relax your fingers. If you do that and it doesn't feel good in your neck, just bring your head back to center. Make any changes that you need to. Taking some deep breaths here if you can. Just checking in with your right shoulder. I want to make sure that shoulder is not floating up in the air. I want the shoulder down on the ground as best we can. So if your shoulder is floating up in the air, just move your knees away from your body a bit. So you're straightening your legs a little bit more. That'll usually bring your shoulder down to the ground a bit more. If this feels really good, option to bring your knees closer to your armpit. Any pain or pinching in your right arm, bring it down closer to your body. And again, if it feels really good, option to raise your arm up higher than shoulder height. Do whatever variation works for you. Taking 3 more breaths here. If your head is turned, gently bring it back to center. Bring both arms out wide again, palms down to support yourself. Draw your belly button in towards your spine. As you inhale, bring your knees into your chest. Exhale, bring your feet down to the floor. Press into the soles of your feet. Shift your hips back to center. Bring both knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your legs. Just give yourself a big hug, maybe roll side to side. Rolling into tension either side of your spine. Give yourself a bit of a massage. In your own time, bringing your legs back down, feet on the floor, knees bent. We're going to go to the other side. So first of all, arms out wide, palms down. Press into the soles of your feet. Shift your hips over to the left side of your mat. Contract your abdominal muscles. Inhaling, bring your knees into your chest. As you exhale, knees and feet come down towards the floor on your right. This side might be totally different. Just give yourself a couple of breaths, see how it feels. And make any adjustments you need to. If your left shoulder is floating up in the air, move your knees and your feet down away from your body a bit. If you need some extra weight on your top thigh, use your right hand. And if your neck feels good and you want to bring it into the twist, look towards your left hand. Turn your palm up, relax your fingers. Seeing if you can breathe with a bit more intention here. Taking fuller inhales if you can. Your breath might be deep enough for your belly to expand. Relaxing into the pose with each exhale. Allow yourself to take 3 more full breaths here. If your head is turned, gently bring it back to center. Both arms out wide, palms down. Contract your abdominal muscles. Bring your knees into your chest as you inhale. As you exhale, feet come down to the floor. Press into your feet, shift your hips back to center. Just recenter yourself on your mat. You might have moved around a bit. Bring your knees into your chest, one hand on each knee. Contract your abdominal muscles. Take a big breath into your upper chest. As you exhale, begin to bring your forehead towards your knees. We're going to support the head, so interlace your fingers. Bring your hands behind the round part of your skull. Tuck your elbows and tuck your chin. Make sure you're breathing. Keep contracting your abdominal muscles. Make them do the work for you. It's a good release for your low back, but it asks a lot of your head and neck, so support your head with your hands. Taking 2 more breaths here. Your next inhale, see if you can lift a little bit higher. As you exhale, gently bringing your shoulders down, release your hands back down, head comes down, feet come down last. Keeping the legs bent, walk your heels in a bit closer to your buttocks. You're going to have knees and feet about hip distance apart. So you want your knees pointing as straight forward as you can. So keep an eye on them, make sure they don't go out to the sides or they don't lean in together. You want to keep them kind of hip distance and straight forward. Your arms by your sides, palms down. Take a big breath into your low belly. As you exhale, press your low back into the floor. On your next inhale, begin to lift your hips up off the floor. You can go just a couple of inches and stop. See how it feels. You'll notice your gluteus muscles contracting, your thighs engaging, keeping your knees forwards. Now, if it feels okay, you have the option to lift a bit higher. But listen to your body. You don't have to go high. You're still getting the same benefits in the pose. Just keep in mind, the higher you go, the more weight is going to be in your neck and your shoulders. So if you've got any neck or shoulder stuff going on, it's not going to feel good to go high. So stay low. I'm going to be here for a few more breaths. Make sure you're breathing. Relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw. Keep your gaze towards the ceiling so you keep that natural curve in the back of your neck. Your next inhale, you have the option to lift a bit higher if you want to. As you exhale, nice and slow, going to begin to lower back down. So mid back first, then low back. Buttocks come down very, very last. When you're all the way back down, walk your feet out to the wide edges of your mat. Keep your knees bent. Let your knees rest in together. Place your hands on your belly. Close your eyes if that feels okay. We're just going to take a few breaths here. Noticing the sensations in your body. How you're feeling after the first few poses. In your own time, walking your feet back in towards each other. You've got a couple of options, depending on how you're feeling today. First option for coming up, roll onto your side, press into your top hand and push yourself up. Other option, if you're feeling a bit more lively and energetic, you can bring your knees into your chest. You can begin to rock yourself back and forth until you build up enough momentum to swing yourself up. It's a bit more fun that way, but it takes a lot more effort. And then making your way onto your hands and knees. You might want to have a blanket or a towel or something folded up, just if you'd like a bit of cushion under your knees. Just might feel a bit better. You might not need anything. Depends what kind of surface you're on, so just have a blanket handy in case you need it. Making your way to your hands and knees. Want wrists stacked under shoulders and knees under hips. Let's turn around. You guys don't have to turn around, it's just I tweaked my shoulder or neck or something, so turning my head the other way is hard, so I'm just going to turn this way. So wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Have your toes tucked or untucked, whatever feels better. If this feels too hard on your wrists, you have the option to come down to your elbows. You can also fold the mat back to give your heel of your hand some extra cushion. Do whatever feels good. Taking a breath in, neutral spine. As you exhale, begin to tuck your tailbone, round your spine, drawing your chin towards your chest. Again, not forcing anything, just moving nice and slow. Inhaling, untuck your tailbone, chest comes up. If your neck is feeling okay, you can look up. As you exhale, tuck your tailbone, round your spine, chin towards your chest. Inhaling, untuck your tailbone, chest comes up, head might come up. As you exhale, tuck your tailbone, round your spine, chin towards your chest. Inhaling, untuck your tailbone, chest comes up, head comes up. Maybe roll your eyes to the ceiling this time. Exhaling, tuck your tailbone, round your spine, chin towards your chest. Inhaling, untuck your tailbone, chest comes up, head comes up. Maybe close your eyes this time as you exhale, tuck your tailbone, round your spine, chin towards your chest. Inhale, untuck your tailbone, chest comes up, head comes up. Just a couple more as you exhale, tuck your tailbone, round your spine, chin towards your chest. Push the floor away with your hands. Notice the space in between your shoulder blades. As you inhale, untuck your tailbone, chest comes up, head comes up. As you exhale, tuck your tailbone, round your spine, chin towards your chest. Inhale, untuck your tailbone, chest comes up, squeeze your shoulder blades together, head comes up. Exhaling, tuck your tailbone, round your spine, chin towards your chest. Inhale back to neutral. Untuck your toes if they're tucked. Tops of your feet flat to the mat. Float your buttocks back to your heels. Bring your forehead down to the mat. Let your elbows bend and relax. Take a couple of breaths here. Stretch your arms out in front of you, out to the wide edges of your mat, and look between your hands. As you inhale, do your best to slide your upper body along the floor towards in between your hands. As you exhale, slide your legs out behind you. Stack your hands in front of you. Bring your forehead down. Bring your big toes together. Tops of your feet flat to the mat, big toes touching. Let your heels flop out to the sides. So your legs are completely relaxed. You might even want to rock your hips side to side. Just feel your legs heavy and like jelly, just relaxed. On your next inhale, begin to lift your head and chest. As you exhale, you're going to bring your elbows in under your shoulders. And see how this feels. So elbows are under shoulders, palms down. Come into Sphinx pose, legs relaxed. This can be quite hard on the low back, can cause a lot of sensation. So if you've got too much sensation going on in your low back, just slide your arms forward a bit. So your elbows are still in line with your shoulders, but you're just moving them forwards. That should take some pressure off. If your low back feels good, you can keep your elbows under your shoulders. Don't suffer. Sensation is okay, but we don't want pain. So anything is painful or too much sensation, just slide your hands forwards. And then just be careful you're not collapsing into your shoulders. You want to lift up out of your shoulders so your chest is forward, gaze forward. So you're holding yourself up rather than collapsing into it. Just the decent gap between your ears and your shoulders. Makes it a bit harder. Take in nice full breaths here if you can. You might feel your belly press against the mat as you inhale. Just noticing your exhale. Notice how your body moves just slightly with each breath. Gaze forward. Your next inhale, see if you can lift a little bit higher. As you exhale, we're going to bring elbows out wide, arms bent, hands stacked on top of each other, and bring your forehead down to your hands. Turn your head to your left and bring your left leg out to the side, knee bent. Take a couple of breaths here. Big baby pose. Your own time, gently bring your leg back to center. Forehead comes back to center. We're going to go the other side. My head turns to the right, and right leg comes out to the side, knee bent. Gently bringing your leg and your head back to center. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Push yourself back to your hands and knees. Again, bringing knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. We're going to be here for quite a few breaths. So if your knees are kind of getting achy kneeling, you might want some cushion under them. If your wrists are getting sore, option to come up to your fists. So you can make fists and have your thumbs pointing forwards. And just make sure you've got enough room behind you. We're going to be stretching our legs out. So just make sure you're not going to kick an animal or your furniture or anything. Knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. Contract your abdominal muscles. And look just ahead of your mat. You're going to find a focal point, something that's not moving, something that you can kind of focus your gaze on. It will help with your balance. Make sure you're drawing your belly button in towards your spine. That will help with your balance as well. Your next inhale, take your right leg out behind you. Toes touching the mat, or toes touching the ground. So we're not lifting the leg yet, just taking it out behind you. You can have your other toes of your bent leg either tucked or untucked, whatever feels better. Contract your abdominal muscles, have your gaze on your focal point. Your next inhale, you might want to lift your right leg. It might just lift an inch or two, or it might come up towards hip height. Just keep your hips squared to the mat. So we don't want to lift the legs so much that our hips kind of move. You want to keep your hips squared to the mat. If you feel like your hips are moving, bring your leg back down a bit. If you feel like this is too unbalanced and you feel too wobbly, you always have the option to bring your toes back down to the mat and just keep your legs straight. Still working on your balance. Wherever you are, make sure you're breathing. And you can stay like this, or if your breath is steady and you don't feel too wobbly or too shaky, the option to bring your left hand out in front of you, thumb pointing towards the ceiling. Again, you can come back down at any time. It's not an easy pose. It's hard on the arm that's holding you, and it's hard on the balance. So don't suffer, make sure you're breathing. Take one more inhale, maybe lift your leg and arm a little bit higher. As you exhale, arm comes down, leg still up. Take one more breath in, lift your leg a bit higher, flex your toes. As you exhale, leg comes back down. Come up onto tented fingertips, and that right leg, just going to swing it around nice and slowly in front of you. So it now becomes your front leg. So your right leg is bent, knee over ankle. Back toes can be tucked or untucked. Again, finding your focal point. Drawing your belly button in towards your spine. Drawing your inner thighs towards each other. Bring your hands up to your knee. And see how that feels. If you need to make any adjustments, if you feel like your leg is back too far or not far enough, make any adjustments that you need to. Right knee over ankle. If your balance is feeling okay and your breath is steady, option to bring your arms in the air, palms facing each other. Relax your shoulders. Keep your belly button drawn in towards your spine. Your next inhale, reach your fingertips a bit higher. As you exhale, bring both hands down either side of your foot, tented fingers, so you're up on your fingertips. Lift your back knee, pivot your back foot so the outer edge of your foot is in line with the edge of your mat. Draw your belly button in towards your spine. Your next inhale, windmill your arms up to shoulder height. So your right leg is still bent, knee over ankle, and point your knee towards your baby toes. Back leg is strong and straight. Arms at shoulder height, gaze out over your front arm, your right arm. Draw your belly button in towards your spine, that tucks your tailbone slightly. Your right knee might have a tendency to want to come in, but we want to keep it open. So we want to push the right knee towards your baby toe. On your crown of your head towards the ceiling. You can be in the pose and take some steady breaths. Take one more inhale. On your exhale, we're going to windmill the arms back down, either side of the foot. Pivot your back foot so you're up on your toes again. You're going to take a big step forward. So back leg comes to meet your front leg. So you're coming up into forward fold. You might need to adjust your stance, just widen your feet a little bit, about hip distance apart, maybe a bit wider. If you've got any blood pressure issues or headache or congestion, forward fold's not going to feel very good today. So in that case, bend your knees, bring your elbows to rest on your thighs, keep your head in line with your heart. If you're feeling good, no congestion, no issues today, you might want to come into a full forward fold. That might mean letting your hands touch the floor, bend your knees still as much as you need to, and let your upper body just hang. You might want to grab each elbow and just let yourself hang down. Taking a couple of breaths here. Your next inhale, bring your hands to your shins, gaze to the floor. Exhale, fold forward. Do that again. Inhale, hands to shins, gaze to the floor. Exhale, fold. And whichever variation you're in, on your next inhale, contract your abdominal muscles. And exhale, pressing into your feet. Feel your feet connected to the ground. Your next breath in, arms come out wide, press into your feet, come up to standing. Hands come up overhead, palms meet. Exhale, elbows bend, hands to heart center. I'm going to turn around because otherwise you won't be able to see me. So you can bring your hands to your hips. You want feet about hip distance apart. So you can see me. Feet about hip distance apart. Relax your shoulders. Draw your belly button in towards your spine. And have your knees soft. So they're not locked. There's a bit of a bend, easiness to your knees. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, just feel into your feet. Feel the strength of your legs. Drawing the crown of your head towards the ceiling. Lengthen your spine. Your next inhale, bring your arms out wide up overhead. Palms come together. As you exhale, elbows bend and knees also bend. So you're trying to sit down as though you're sitting back into a chair that's not there. I'm going to come sideways so you can see. You don't have to go too far. Have your knees pointing towards your second and third toe. Make sure you can still see your toes. Move your chest forward. So we're looking for 3 bends. So there's a bend at the ankle, there's a bend at the knee, and there's just a bit of a bend at the hips. But rather than being forwards like this, like chest parallel to the floor, you want to lift the chest. So your gaze is still forwards. You can have your hands at heart center, option to bring them to your hips, whatever feels better. Draw your belly button into your spine. Pressing into your heels of your feet, balls of your feet. Noticing the sensations in your legs and still breathing. On your next inhale, press into your legs, arms come out wide, palms come together overhead as you stand. As you exhale, elbows bend, knees bend. Sit back in your chair again. Watch your knees are still pointing towards your second and third toes. Your next inhale, press into your legs, arms out wide, palms come together overhead as you stand. As you exhale, elbows bend, knees bend. Sit back in your chair. Chest forward, gaze forward. Next inhale, press into your feet, arms wide, come to standing, palms together overhead, elbows bend, knees bend. Last one for now. Take a breath in, gaze forward as you exhale. See if you can sit a little bit deeper. Your next inhale, press into your feet, arms come together overhead, come to standing. Exhale, elbows bend, hands come towards heart center, and this time hinging forward from your hips. So we're not going into chair, coming back into the forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to bring your hands to the mat, plant your hands on the floor. Again, depending on how you're feeling, you can either step your feet back one at a time, or if you're feeling full of energy, you can jump your feet back. Inhale, hips to the ceiling. Exhale, pressing your chest towards your thighs. I'm sure some of you thought you were getting away with not doing any down dogs today, but there's always down dogs. Heels don't have to touch the floor. Knees don't have to be straight. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. Inhale, hips towards the ceiling. Exhale, pressing your chest towards your thighs. Arms are straight, fingers wide. We're looking for length through the spine, not straight legs. Might feel good here to bend into each knee. One heel at a time comes down towards the mat. And then in your own time, bringing yourself down to your hands and knees, nice and slow. Untuck your toes, tops of your feet flat to the mat. Buttocks back towards your heels. Forehead comes down towards the floor, elbows wide. Let yourself take a couple of breaths here in child's pose. Child's pose isn't a restful pose for you if it doesn't feel good. Options come to your belly or come to your back. Or you can lie on your side, knees in towards your chest. Whatever pose you can find some rest in. Find your breath here. Notice the sensations of your inhale, sensations of your exhale. Allow yourself to take 3 more big breaths here. Your own time, making your way back to your hands and knees. Again, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Toes tucked or untucked, whatever feels better. And making sure you still have some room behind you to stretch out your legs. Contract your abdominal muscles. Drawing your belly button right in towards your spine. Take a breath in. On your exhale, bring your left leg out behind you. Toes still touching the ground. We're not moving anywhere yet. Just notice how this feels. If this is where you want to stay today, it's perfectly fine. This is awesome. Look towards your mat, find your focal point. If it's too much on your wrists, you can come up to your fists. Your gaze soft on your focal point. Belly button drawing in towards your spine. Your next inhale, option to begin to lift your leg. You can go a couple of inches, or you might be able to bring it up to hip height. This side might be totally different to the other side. Just feel into what feels best. Again, keeping your hips square towards the floor. Finding a height that you like. Remember, you can come down at any time, bring your toes down to the ground. Keep breathing. Make sure your breath is steady. If you're finding that you're holding your breath, bring your leg back down. Breath is the most important, not the pose. Doesn't matter what the pose looks like. Breath comes first. If your breath is steady and your balance feels okay, option to bring your right arm out in front of you. Thumbs point towards the ceiling. Sorry, thumb points towards the ceiling. Again, if you're struggling to keep your breath steady here, bring your arm back down. It's up to you, and it might change every time you do yoga. Every time we do this pose, it might be different. Do whatever you need to do today. Your next inhale, see if you can lift a little bit higher if you want to. Exhale, arm comes down. Leg stays up. If your leg is in the air, inhale, flexing your foot, lifting your leg a little bit higher. Exhale, knee comes back down. Take a moment to rebalance yourself. In your own time, bring your left leg in front of you. Knee bent, knee over ankle. Hands either side of your foot. Back toes can be tucked or untucked, whatever feels better. Draw your belly button in towards your spine. Gaze forward. Draw your inner thighs towards each other. Your next inhale, bring your hands to your knee. Again, find your balance, find your focal point. Option to stay here, or if your balance is feeling okay, bring your arms in the air, palms facing each other. Relax your shoulders. Taking a few breaths here. Belly button draws in, tucks your tailbone slightly. Relax your shoulders. Your next inhale, reach your fingertips towards the ceiling. As you exhale, hands come down either side of your foot, up on tented fingers. Lift your back knee, pivot your back foot so the outer edge of your foot is in line with the edge of your mat. Contract your abdominal muscles. Your next inhale, windmill your arms up to shoulder height. Going back into warrior two on the other side. Left knee over your ankle, pointing towards your baby toe. So you really might need to push your knee towards your baby toe. Back leg strong and straight. Take a glance at your back arm. Arms at shoulder height, shoulders relaxed. Gaze out over your front arm. It's better for your balance. Draw your belly button in towards your spine. Drawing the crown of your head towards the ceiling. And coming back to your breath. Breathing with intention. Noticing the sensations in your body with the pose. Staying with your breath. Your next inhale, draw the crown of your head towards the ceiling. As you exhale, windmill your arms back down. Pivot your back foot so you're up on your toes again. You might need to bring your hands fully to the mat, or you might be okay up in your fingertips. You're going to take a big step, back foot comes up to meet your front foot. Shift your feet however you need to so that they're about hip distance apart, maybe even a bit wider. Again, if forward fold doesn't feel good, bend your knees, bring your elbows to your thighs. Keep your head in line with your heart. Forward fold feels good for you today. The legs might be straight, but more importantly, you want your upper body to be heavy. So knees don't have to be straight. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. Option to grab each elbow, adds a bit more weight to your shoulders. Let your head relax, maybe even nod your head yes and no, just gently. Giving your neck a bit of a release. Contract your abdominal muscles. Whichever variation you're in, your next inhale, press into your feet, take your arms out wide, push yourself up to standing. Arms come together, palms meet overhead. Elbows bend, hands to heart center. Bring your hands to your hips. I'm going to change it a little bit this time. So this time, stepping your feet in close together. Your feet are touching if you can. Relax your shoulders. Draw your belly button in towards your spine. You'll notice how that just automatically tucks your tailbone, turns on your gluteus muscles, thighs are engaged, shoulders relaxed, gaze forward. Take a breath in, exhale. Feeling the strength in your body, sensations in your legs. Your next inhale, take your arms out wide. This time, arms just stay up overhead, so palms are apart. Palms facing each other, relax your shoulders. Take an inhale, reach your fingertips. As you exhale, begin to sit down in your chair again. And this variation is a little bit harder because your legs are together. Everything's a bit more squeezed in, a bit tighter. So your knees should, because they're together, they will likely point towards your second and third toes anyway. Keep drawing your belly button in towards your spine. Keep your chest lifted, gaze forwards. Inhale, come to stand. Exhale, arms down. And go straight into another one. Inhale, arms up overhead, palms face each other. Exhale, relax your shoulders, bend your knees, sit back in your chair. Keep breathing. Inhale, come to stand, reach your fingertips. Exhale, arms come down. Maybe roll your shoulders one way a couple of times the other way. Inhale, arms wide. Palms come towards each other overhead. Relax your shoulders. Inhale, reach your fingertips. Exhale, begin to sit in your chair. Now, option this time, you can stay here, or you have the option, if your balance is feeling okay, to come up onto your toes. Now, it really challenges your balance, so if you do it and you feel too wobbly, bring your heels back down. Any numbness or tingling in your fingers, option to bring your hands to heart center, or you can bring them to your hips. Whatever feels better. Whichever variation you're in, remember we want those 3 bends, ankle, knees, and just a slight one at your hips, so your gaze and your chest are still forwards. Make sure you're breathing. Let your breath steady you. 3 more big breaths here. Come down to your heels at any time. Come back to standing at any time. One more breath in. One more exhale. Let your heels come down if you're up on your toes. Your next inhale, step in, press into your feet, straighten your legs, bring your hands together at heart center. Exhale, elbows bend, hands come back down to heart. Take your legs about hip distance apart again, maybe a bit wider. Take a breath in. As you exhale, hinge forward from your hips. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Plant your hands into the floor. Again, option to step your feet back or jump your feet back, whatever feels better. Inhale, hips towards your ceiling. Exhale, chest towards the thighs. Really bend your knees as much as you need to. Create that length through your spine. Let your head relax. So you want to look towards the back of your mat. Look between your feet. Step your feet together. Your next inhale, take your right leg up and out behind you. As you exhale, bring your right knee towards your right wrist. Doesn't have to touch, just towards it. I know it's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to turn around just in case it didn't make sense. So right leg comes up and out behind you. And then bring your right knee towards your right wrist. Bring your back knee down, untuck your back toes. So your shin is going to be kind of across your body. And it's just towards your right wrist. It doesn't have to touch it. And see how this feels. This might be your pigeon pose for today. Option to stay here. If this doesn't feel good on your knees, option to come down to your buttocks. Keep your front knee bent and also bend your back knee. And have your hands to the side holding yourself. So it's a little bit less strain on your knees. So you really need to listen to your body for this one. See which option is better for you. Have your right knee bent, back leg straight, or come down to your buttocks, bend both knees. If you're in the variation with your right knee bent, back leg straight, option to stay here, stay upright, holding yourself up. This might be enough of a stretch. Or option to come down to your elbows. See how that feels. It's quite a deep pose, so if it doesn't feel good, come back up out of it. If it feels amazing, option to come all the way down to the floor. Stack your hands, rest your forehead down. See which one feels better in your body. I'm going to stay here for a few breaths. If you're all the way down, begin to push yourself back up. Whichever variation you're in, if you've got both knees bent, come back up onto one knee, straighten your back leg out, your left leg out, bring your hands down to the mat, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. We're coming out the exact same way we went in. Lift your hips, bring your leg back, so you're coming back into your down dog. Inhale, hips towards the ceiling, exhale, chest towards your thighs. We're going to go to the other side, so step your feet together. Inhale, left leg comes up and out behind you. Exhale, left knee comes towards your left wrist. Bring your right knee down, untuck your toes. This feels okay on your knee, feels okay in your hips. You can stay here. Again, option, come down to your elbows. If it feels amazing and you love this, bend your elbows, stack your hands, bring your forehead down to your hands. If it doesn't feel so amazing on your knees, come down to your buttocks. So you've got your left knee bent, and then just slightly bend your right knee as well. Put your hands wherever they're comfortable. That might be out to the side, might be one either side of your front leg. It's the same pose. Look after your knees, do what feels best. Again, we're going to be here for a few full breaths. For yourself, take one more full inhale, one more full exhale. If you're down all the way, begin to push yourself back up. If you're on your buttocks with both legs bent, begin to come back up onto that left leg. Bring your right leg out behind you, tuck your toes, lift your back knee. Bring both hands flat to the mat. Let your weight go into your hands as you begin to lift your hips. Step your feet back so they're toward the same place. Inhale, hips towards the ceiling. Exhale, chest towards your thighs. Last down dog. Do whatever feels good in this shape this time. You might want to bend both knees one at a time. Lift your heels. Move your hips side to side. Whatever feels good. In your own time, bring yourself back down to your hands and knees. Untuck your toes, take your knees out wide this time. Float your buttocks back to your heels. Forehead down to the mat, elbows wide. Take a nice big breath here. Option to stay here and rest. Or if you feel like you'd like to stretch your shoulders out a little bit, option to bring your hands to your low back, interlace your fingers, straighten your arms. This might be enough of a stretch for your shoulders. Sometimes this is plenty, depends how they're feeling. If you feel like you want to give them a little bit more of a stretch, option to bring your hands up towards the ceiling or towards the back wall. Just lifting them up off your back a little bit. You don't have to go too high. Unless you have that range of motion. If you have that range of motion in your shoulders, go ahead. Most of us don't. Most of us carry all our tension there, so range of motion can be limited. It might feel good to bring some movement into it, maybe lifting your hands up and down, your knuckles up and down, maybe moving them side to side. Take one more breath in, lift your knuckles up a little bit higher. As you exhale, bring your hands back down to your low back. Let your shoulders relax, let your hands come back down to the floor. A couple of big breaths in here and sigh it out. Your own time, bring your hands under your shoulders. Nice and slow, begin to push yourself up, uncurling your spine, one vertebra at a time, as if you're trying to stack one bone on top of the other. Shoulders come up, uncurl your neck, head comes up very last. Around time, make your way onto the mat. You might want to have a cushion or folded blanket or something to sit on here. Sometimes nice to sit on something. It gives you a bit more height in your hips, gives you a bit more movement. Just take a seat on your cushion if you're using one. If you're not using one, you can still do the pose. It's just sometimes feels better with the cushion. Your feet out in front of you, soles of your feet together, knees bent. Hands on your knees. Inhale, sit tall, drawing the crown of your head towards the ceiling. As you exhale, begin to hinge forward from your hips. Keeping that length through your spine right until the very end. Let your hands come down towards your feet. Then let your spine round and draw your chin towards your chest. You're not trying to force anything, you're just trying to let your head be heavy. Release any grip on your feet. Take your hands either side of your feet, palms up. Have your elbows bent so your shoulders can relax. Now it might feel best to have your elbows bent on the outside of your legs, or it might feel better having them on the inside of your legs. Mess around with it. Try each version, see what feels better. Let your head be heavy if you can. I know it causes a lot of sensation in your neck sometimes, so do your best to let your neck relax. Taking deep breaths here. Sending your inhale towards the back of your body, noticing the spaces in between your ribs. Releasing tension from your spine as you exhale. Taking 3 more full cycles of breath here. Contract your abdominal muscles. Your next inhale, really slowly, begin to uncurl your spine. Let your upper body stay heavy like a rag doll. Imagine you're trying to stack each vertebra on top of the other. So you're moving nice and slow. Hands automatically slide up towards your knees. Shoulders come up. Neck uncurls. Head comes up last. When you come up to the top, just take a few breaths, eyes closed or gaze soft. Just noticing the echo of the pose in your body. Sensations, the energy. Use your hands to bring your knees back together. Come off your cushion if you're on one. And then we're going to grab, if you have a blanket or towel. If you don't have one, it's no problem. You can still do the pose, but if you have one and want to use it, awesome. So whatever you have, it doesn't really matter what size it is. You can just take it to a kind of a rectangular kind of size. So you've got a long edge and a short edge. We're going to lay it down in front and we're going to use the long edge. So whichever is the longest part, begin to fold it over. So not really rolling it up, just making a few folds so it's not too bulky. So just fold it over 3, maybe 4 times. So you've got like a long flat roll, I suppose. We're going to finish off just in a bit of a restorative pose. So if you have a wall, great, you can use the wall. If you have a chair or a couch or anything around, you can also use a chair. So I'll show you both and then it's up to you depending on what you want to use. I'll show you the wall first. So we're basically going to do legs up the wall. So you want to have the blanket roughly where you think your spine is going to be. So the blanket is going to go along the length of your spine, shoulders either side of it. So if you're using the wall, bring your blanket not right up to the wall because that's where your buttocks are going to be. So you want it just a little bit away from the wall, kind of towards the end of where your back will be. If you're using the wall, sometimes it's easiest. Bring your hips to the side, hands either side of you, and then nice and gently, slowly swing your legs up on the wall. And then once you're there, you can press your feet into the wall to shuffle yourself around. Just have the blanket roughly along the edges of your spine. Not the edges, sorry, along the length of your spine. Have your feet on the wall, heels resting, arms wide. If you try that and it doesn't feel comfortable, or you don't have a bare wall handy, you can use a chair. You can use a couch, whatever you've got there. Same thing. You're going to bring the length of the blanket along where you think your spine is going to be. So leave a little bit of a gap between the blanket and the chair for your buttocks to go. And the exact same way coming into it. Have your buttocks alongside the chair. Same thing. Swing your legs gently up onto the chair. And then let yourself move around as you need to. You can press your legs into the chair and that will lift your hips, lift your back. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to get the blanket along the length of the spine somehow so that the chest can open a little bit. So the shoulders are going either side. We're just trying to get the legs up because we've done a lot of work with them. So then having your legs up either on the chair or on the wall will help all that lactic acid, all that stuff to come back down, to drain out of your legs. It'll just help a little bit. It'll come back to your lymph nodes. And it'll stop you being so sore or cursing me tomorrow. Whichever way feels better, wall or chair. When you found the variation you like, begin to bring your awareness back to your breath. I'm going to take a few guided breaths here. If you don't want to do it, it's no problem at all. Just breathe naturally at your own pace. If you want to join in, I invite you to exhale everything out completely. And take a deep breath in. We're going to gently exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in. Exhaling for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, nice steady deep breath in. Gentle exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhaling, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big breath in. Exhaling, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, big breath in. Nice gentle exhale, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just let your breath return to its natural flow. Finding some stillness in this unusual shape. Your mind starts to wander. Use it as a reminder. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Focusing on the sensations, on the inhale and the exhale, and the feeling of it. Gives the mind something to do. Letting yourself take about 5 more full cycles of breath here. So 5 more full inhales, 5 more full exhales. Whichever variation you're in, whether you've got your legs up the wall or legs on a chair. The easiest way to come out of it might be bringing your knees into your chest and just rolling to one side. So rolling completely off the blanket. And gently pressing into your hand, top hand, pushing yourself up. And move the blanket away completely and bring yourself back to your mat. Making your way onto your back for Shavasana. So do anything you need to do. For our last pose, you might want to put on some layers, maybe cover yourself up with a blanket, grab a cushion for your head, or maybe something under your knees to take some pressure off your low back. Do whatever you need to do to feel most comfortable in our last pose, your resting pose. If you've got nothing under your knees, no problem. Just take your legs out wide, about mat width apart. Let your feet flop open. Let your heels rest. Making your way onto your back. You can have your hands by your sides, palms up or palms down, or you can have your hands on your belly. Whatever feels most comfortable. Letting your breath just be its natural flow. Noticing where your heels rest. See if you can let them be a little bit heavier. Letting your hips, your sit bones, everything sink into the floor a little bit more. There's no more effort. Legs completely heavy. Belly is soft. Fingers relaxed. Elbows heavy. Shoulders rest back and down without any effort. Relaxing your jaw. Separate your back teeth and take your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Relax your forehead and that space in between your eyebrows. Let your face muscles be soft. Imagine you could relax your ears and your scalp. Let the weight of your skull rest heavy on the mat. And just let your whole body, from your heels right through to your head, be completely heavy and fully supported by the earth below. Gently bring in some small movements back to your fingers and toes. Might feel good to turn your head from side to side. Just gentle, soft movements. In your own time, rolling onto one side, bringing yourself into a nice small fetal position. So knees coming in towards forehead, forehead towards knees. Taking a pause here, offering yourself some gratitude. It takes a lot of effort. It's not easy to make some space in your home and make the time to practice, to give yourself some time for some self-care, some breathing, some movement. There's lots of distractions at home, nobody to hold us accountable. So it's not easy to do. So give yourself some gratitude, a little pat on the back. Well done. In your own time, press into your top hand, push yourself up to comfortable seated position. Just another minute or two to close our practice today. You can have your hands just resting on your lap, or if it resonates with you, you can bring your hands together at heart center. And just a small gap between your palms, as if you're trying to hold a jewel. It's Anjali Mudra. It's a gesture of gratitude. Bringing your mind to your heart. Thank you for sharing your time with me today, sharing your space in your home, sharing your practice. I'm truly grateful for each and every one of you. You make my day every Friday. May our practice awaken our hearts and our minds and be of benefit to all beings. With love and gratitude, Namaste.